In the dim glow of neon lights flickering against the rain-slicked windows of Rosie's diner, a scream shattered the late-night hush. It wasn't a blood-curdling wail of terror, but the sharp, desperate cry of a woman pushed to her breaking point. "Get your hands off me!" she shouted, her voice cracking like thunder in the otherwise quiet eatery. That was Sarah, the waitress who'd been serving coffee and smiles for 12 grueling hours, now cornered by 3 burly men whose laughter echoed like hyenas in the wild. Sarah Thompson was no stranger to hardship. At 32, she was a single mother raising her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, in a small town where dreams went to die under the weight of unpaid bills and endless shifts. Rosie's diner, with its checkered floors and vinyl booths cracked from years of use, was her lifeline. She worked the graveyard shift to make ends meet, pouring coffee for truckers, flipping burgers for insomniacs, and wiping away the tears of her own exhaustion in the back room. Sarah had a smile that could light up the darkest night, a genuine one, born from the kind of resilience that only comes from burying a husband too young to cancer and fighting tooth and nail to keep her little girl in dance classes. But tonight, that smile was nowhere to be found. The thugs had sauntered in around midnight, reeking of cheap whiskey and entitlement. They called themselves the local boys, but everyone knew them as troublemakers, unemployed drifters who bullied their way through life. The leader, a hulking figure named Jax with tattoos snaking up his neck like vines on a forgotten fence, slammed his fist on the counter. "Hey, sweetheart, how about some service over here? Or do we gotta teach you manners?" Sarah approached cautiously, notepad in hand, her heart pounding. "What can I get you gentlemen?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. But Jax wasn't interested in the menu. He leaned in too close, his breath hot and foul. "How about you sit with us? A pretty thing like you shouldn't be slaving away. We could show you a good time." His cronies snickered, one of them, a wiry guy with a scarred lip, grabbing her wrist as she tried to pull away. The diner wasn't empty. Old Mr. Hargrove sat in the corner, nursing his black coffee, his arthritic hands shaking as he pretended not to notice. A young couple on a late-night date whispered nervously, eyes darting to the door. And Rosie herself, the 60-year-old owner with a no-nonsense glare, was in the kitchen, but she was alone tonight, her fry cook having called in sick. Sarah felt the weight of isolation crush her. "Please, let go," she pleaded, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I have a daughter. Just order or leave." Jax laughed, yanking her closer. "A daughter? Bet she's as feisty as her mom. Maybe we'll stick around and meet her." The threat hung in the air like smoke, igniting a fire of fear in Sarah's chest. Memories flooded her. Lily's innocent giggles, her tiny hand in Sarah's as they walked home from school, the promise Sarah had made at her husband's grave to protect their girl no matter what. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not in front of these monsters. That's when the door swung open with a jingle that cut through the tension like a knife. In walked 4 bikers, their leather jackets emblazoned with patches of skulls and eagles, boots thudding heavily on the linoleum. They were a sight to behold, bearded, tattooed, with chains dangling from their belts and the rumble of their Harleys still echoing outside. The leader, a broad-shouldered man named Bear, had a scar running down his cheek and eyes that seemed to pierce through the dim light. His companions, Tank, a giant with a gentle giant's build, Spike, lean and wiry, with a perpetual smirk, and Doc, the oldest with salt and pepper hair, followed suit, shaking off the rain like wolves emerging from the storm. The diner fell silent. Mr. Hargrove froze mid-sip. The young couple shrank in their booth. Even Jax paused, sizing up the newcomers. Bikers like these were legends in town. Rumors swirled of bar fights, midnight rides, and a code of honor that could swing from protector to predator in a heartbeat. Sarah's stomach twisted. Were they here to join the chaos or make it worse? Bear scanned the room, his gaze landing on Sarah's tear-streaked face and the thug's grip on her arm. His expression hardened, a storm brewing behind those steel-blue eyes. "What's going on here?" he growled, his voice low and gravelly, like thunder rolling in from afar. Jax released Sarah with a shove, puffing out his chest. "None of your business, leather boy. We're just having fun with the help." His friend stood, cracking knuckles, ready for a scrap. Sarah backed away, rubbing her wrist, her mind racing. She thought of calling the police, but the station was miles away, and by the time they arrived, it might be too late. Lily was at home with a babysitter, probably asleep, dreaming of fairies and adventures. The thought of her daughter waking to bad news fueled Sarah's resolve. She wouldn't cower. Bear stepped forward, his boots echoing. "Fun, looks like harassment to me. Lady, you okay?" He addressed Sarah directly, his tone softening just a fraction. She nodded shakily. Please, just leave, all of you. But Jax wasn't backing down. You think you're tough 'cause you ride a bike. This is our town. Get out before we make you. The tension escalated like a fuse burning toward dynamite. Tank cracked his neck, Spike's hand hovered near his belt, and Doc's eyes narrowed, assessing the odds. The young couple whispered about fleeing, but the door was blocked. Rosie emerged from the kitchen, wielding a rolling pin like a weapon. I've called the cops, she lied, her voice firm but quivering. Bear ignored Jax, turning to Sarah. What's your name? Sarah, she whispered. Sarah, he repeated, as if committing it to memory. I'm Bear, these are my brothers. We don't stand for this crap. Then, to Jax, apologize. Now, Jax lunged, swinging a wild punch. Bear dodged effortlessly, grabbing Jax's arm and twisting it behind his back with practiced ease. The thug yelped in pain. Let go, you freak. Not until you say you're sorry, Bear said calmly, his grip unyielding. The cronies charged. Tank intercepted one, lifting him off the ground like a ragdoll and slamming him onto a table, sending salt shakers flying. Spike tripped the other, pinning him with a knee to the back. Doc, ever the strategist, blocked the exit, ensuring no escape. Sarah watched in stunned silence, her fear morphing into awe. These bikers, whom she'd judged as outlaws from their rugged appearance, were defending her, a stranger, with fierce loyalty. Flashbacks hit Bear as he held Jax. His own sister, harassed years ago in a similar dive, left broken because no one stepped up. He'd joined the Iron Wolves MC not for thrills, but for brotherhood to protect the vulnerable. We ride for those who can't, their creed went. Jax, face red with humiliation, muttered, sorry. Louder, Bear demanded. I'm sorry, Jax bellowed. Bear released him. Now get out, and if I hear you've bothered anyone again, we'll find you. The thugs scrambled out, tails between their legs, the door slamming behind them. The diner exhaled collectively. Mr. Hargrove clapped weakly. The young couple cheered. Rosie lowered her rolling pin, a grin breaking through. Sarah approached Bear, tears flowing freely now, not from fear, but gratitude. Why, you don't even know me. Bear shrugged, a rare smile cracking his tough exterior. Doesn't matter. Saw my sister in you. No one deserves that. We're not all what we seem. As the bikers settled into a booth, Sarah served them coffee on the house. Stories flowed. Bear shared about his late sister, how her pain shaped him. Tank revealed he was a volunteer firefighter, saving lives off the bike. Spike, a mechanic, fixed cars for single moms pro bono. Doc, a former medic, patched up wounds in more ways than one. Sarah opened up about her husband, Lily, the daily grind. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not just as a waitress but as a warrior. The night wore on, the rain easing into a gentle patter. When the bikers left, Bear slipped Sarah a card. Call if you need us. Ride safe. Days turned to weeks. The incident became town lore, but for Sarah, it was transformative. She started a support group for women facing harassment, inspired by the bikers' unexpected kindness. Lily met the cool uncles on a sunny afternoon ride, her eyes wide with wonder. And the Iron Wolves, they patrolled the diner now and then, guardians in leather. In a world quick to judge by covers, tattoos, scars, or weary smiles, true heroes emerge from the shadows. It's not the roar of engines or the swing of fists that defines us, but the quiet acts of courage that echo forever. Remember, kindness wears many faces, and sometimes, it's the roughest ones that hold the softest hearts. Stand up, speak out, and never underestimate the power of unexpected allies. Because in the end, we're all just trying to make it through the storm.